Yeah, yeah, yeah. They making new laws every day, and those of the master they throw away. The things they go about and preach, it's not what they teach, and no one seems to care. The whole world lives in fear, just despair everywhere.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna kullu Rasulullah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah. In the name of Allah, in the name of the Almighty God, most gracious and most merciful. All praise is due to the Almighty God, the Beneficent and the Merciful. We give praise and thanks to God for all that He gives us, for all that He invokes for us, and for all that He prevents us from having. I greet my Christian brothers and sisters with the greetings of peace. Peace be unto you. I greet my Hindu brothers and sisters with the greetings of Namaste. I greet my Rastafarian brothers and sisters with the greetings of peace, Jah peace, and Jah love. I greet my Muslim brothers and sisters and all other denominations with the greetings of peace in the Arabic language. Assalamu alaikum. I welcome you, brothers and sisters, in the mosque today, so that we can fellowship with one another. For Islam is a religion of peace. That is why we use the words when we greet Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. It is also words that Jesus used wherever and whenever He met people and wherever He greeted people, He used the words, peace be unto you. And it is nothing strange, because when we meet people, if we greet them that way, it provides a relationship. We say good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. None of God's prophets ever greeted the people and the followers of God in that way. Good morning, good evening, good night. It is always peace be unto you in all of our religions. And so all religions have been taught and advised to greet us with the words of peace. But brothers and sisters, you know, this word is a word that is very confusing, because the word peace, P-E-A-C-E, is also a meaning that has far-fetched complications. But because of customs, we have different customs. We are from different tribes, and so we have different customs. But our customs are not so vastly different. But if we can understand that we come from the same nation of people, then we will understand. Now, what happens to those children then who are mixed with Indian and African? What are we going to call them? If we are saying that the African people are one race and the Indian people are one race, what do we call the children who are born into these unions? What do we call the children from an African father and an Indian mother. What do we call the children from an Indian mother, from an Indian father and an African mother? What we call them? Since you Indian and I'm African, where's my child? What is the name of this child? What race does this child belong to, since we want to talk race? What is the race of the child? What is the race of all these children? They call them Douglas. You see how intensified and vicious and obnoxious our societies are. What do you call the child that is from an Amerindian mother and an African father? What do you call the child that is from an Amerindian father and an African mother? What race does this child belong to? You see how nonsensical it is? This is our country. This is our people. And we have to get rid of that word race. It has to go, whether we like it or not. It has to leave. It is a destructive force in our society. And now we are faced with an African, a brother, not even fully, he is mixed, the president of this country. What do we call him? What do we call President Granger? Is he an African? He's mixed. So what race is he? We have to get rid of that. And our brother Nagamutu, the Prime Minister, we are looking forward to seeing better days ahead. And as far as all the plans that they are making for Guyana, all the changes that we're looking for, the change that I am looking for is the change of getting rid of this whole concept of race. Our children from kindergarten, from the time they are going to school, they learn it. But you know, we can look and see our children that goes to play school. Go to any play school in this country and see how the children play together. The Amerindians, the Africans, the Indians, the Chinese, whoever they may be. Look at how those children play together. Look at how they hold hands and go around the streets together. Look at when they're crossing the street, how they hold hands, the teacher make them hold hands. What happens? What happens after these children get older? Huh? What goes on? Why? Who teaches them to separate? They're in kindergarten, they're in play school, they're together, they're hugging each other, they're playing with each other, you know, they're laughing and joking with each other. And then all of a sudden, at a certain time, they start thinking racial. Who teaches us to think racial? Our parents. Those are the people that teach us to think racial. The colonial masters have handed it down to the politicians, who are handing it down to the people and the parents of the children. So we continue to grow up all the time with this whole concept of race. Brothers and sisters, you know, our thoughts and our actions and our deeds are what we have to look at. Those little children in play school, those little children in kindergarten, they know nothing about race. They are loving to one another. They are 4 and 5 and 6 years old, and they play with one another. They respect each other. They quarrel and fight, but they hug and they laugh. And as soon as they leave play school and they start to go to primary school, they start getting involved with race. and the parents upkeep it. Do you know how many parents tell their children, I don't want to see you go over to them Koli people place? You know how many parents tell their children, I don't want to see you playing with them black children? Do you know how it happens in Guyana? It's happening like that, and it's happening like that. And when we have an administration that continues to practice that because of wanting to keep and hold on to power, if we have to preach race and we have to be racial in order to hold on to power, then it is as Allah says, the world is wealth for the one who has no wealth. Why does Allah say that? Why does God say that? The world is wealth for those who have no wealth. We have wealth, brothers and sisters. We have wealth. We have health, which is a part of our wealth. We have goodness within us, which is a part of our wealth. We have love within us, which is a part of our wealth. We have mercy within us, which is a part of our wealth. We have forgiveness within us, which is a part of our wealth. And so when Allah says, this world is wealth for those who have no wealth, it means for those who don't recognize the wealth they have within them. Those who don't recognize the goodness that they have within them. They look out towards the world so that they will have material wealth. And they figure to themselves that they are doing well because they are rich materially.
Man create his own monster, weapons of damnation and disaster. No sign at all of human rights. The day has turned into night. Is racialism so, and segregation so? Which way is left to go? I don't know. Love thy neighbor. Tell me, what about he ain't heavy, he's my brother. Nobody cares a damn anymore. All they got on their mind is war.
Allah says, he who is not certain of the hereafter collects wealth in this world. Why does God say that? For when we leave here, we leave the wealth here. We don't take it with us. What do we take with us? Huh? Many times you hear, when you die, man, you don't take anything with you. Sure we take. We take our deeds, we take our conduct, we take our behavior. And those three things are the same things we leave here. We leave our conduct, we leave our behavior, and we leave our attitude. We leave those things here as well as we take them with them, because you hear people speaking. What's his name, Mr. So-and-so was such a nice guy. He used to do so-and-so and so. Why are they speaking? Because he has left his conduct here. You know, what's her name? Was a terrible woman, man. You couldn't even speak to her. She had no time. That's what she left. She left her conduct here. So we leave these things with us. And that's why Allah says, those who are not certain of the hereafter, those who are not certain in a life hereafter, will always collect, because you know you're not certain of where you're going, so you're looking after to get as much as you can get out of this life. That is why he says, those who are not certain of the hereafter collect the wealth in this world. He who does not have his trust in God is greedy. There we see it again from our election results. Greed. It is greed that has got Guyana in the way it is. It is greed that have people punishing in this country. It is greed that have racism to the high and the highest. You know, there is something that we must look at very carefully and try and analyze it. I have been having some arguments with people, but I don't argue with it. I'm very straightforward in what I'm saying. I'm saying that those people who refuse to accept the togetherness, the coalition of the representatives of the two nations of this country, they are racist. If you see, after having such a racial problem throughout, it is throughout, since I was a boy, it's happening in this country. And you know, racism is not going to finish in Guyana. It's going to continue. But we are hoping that the change that has come about will enable us to diminish, to a great extent, the whole idea of racial conflict. The two dark black races or nations of this country, I don't like to use the word race, are seen in places like America as black people. They don't look at an Indian in America and say he's an Indian, they say he's black. Just like how they look at the African and say he's black. And we need to understand that we cannot run away from the color of our skin. And since we have the same color, as I've said it before, we are coming from the same place. And it is time who belong to the same nation of people, but who belong to different tribes. Now, when we look at the Hindus, for example, the Hindus have got their deities. And there is a deity who is called Krishna, Lord Krishna. And if you look at the deities of the Hindus, you will find that many of their deities are black or dark skinned. And it is so frivolous to understand if a Hindu tells me I'm black. Because Lord Krishna, the word Krishna means the black one. That's the meaning of it. And the word Christ comes from the word Krishna. That's where the word Christ comes from. You research it. If you don't believe me, or you ask your children or any of your priests or your pandits if they know. But Christ derives its name from the word Krishna. And if Krishna means the black one, then that name can only be given to one who is black. And that word name has been given to Christ. The word Christ comes from the word Krishna. The Prophet Muhammad is of African descent. His mother is a black woman from the Sudan. His father is a black Arab. These are things that we need, especially in our churches, in our religious gatherings. We need to make these things understood. We need to teach our children these things. They must understand it, and they must grow with that knowledge. Because it's a total insult to the children of mixed nationalities. You can't tell me that, what is my daughter? She is Indian and African. She's a black child. Any child between an Indian and an African is a black child because they are two black people. You don't have no other name for the child. When you tell him about the child is a Douglas. You want to look in the dictionary and tell me if you find that word? Where did they get this word Douglas? Where does it come from? Who is the originator of the word Douglas? Again, our colonial masters. And it's also a word used in India for those people, people of African descent who are born in India and who are born Indians, born into the Indian tribe. It's a tribe. A nation, the nation of people together are black. The tribes are different. So what is this word? Huh? At one time they used to be asking you, when you make an application anywhere for a job in this country, they used to have a place where you got to tick off. A, if you're African, I, if you're Indian, you know? C, if you're Chinese, A, if you're Amerindian, Aowmathi. You know, those things need to be discarded. And we need to understand. They continue to say it, and I have the conflict with it, that Guyana has 6 races. Here again, we come up with the word race. Where are the 6 races of Guyana? And again I ask you, if Guyana has 6 races, what do we call the Amerindian that has a child with the Indian? The Indian that has a child with the African? What race is that? What's the name of that race? Huh? We don't have a name for them. Huh? So they are discarded. You know, this thing has happened in England. In England, we had the Africans who have made children with English women, white women. And they have a name for them. They call them half-caste. And you know what has happened? Those so-called half-caste children have gotten together because they can't identify with the African and they can't identify with the white people. So they have gotten together and they have formed themselves into a strong body of people that is making a lot of problems for England right now. We don't want that to happen here. But if we adopt the word black for all of us who are black-skinned, we don't have a problem anymore. Our children are black children. We are black people. And you know, this is something that I want to believe people don't understand. Black is beautiful. You see, they have used the word black, and many times they use the word black to try and put down the people. But black is a beautiful color. You look at the cars on the street. Most of the presidents of the world, when you see them appear anywhere, they come in black cars. Most of the time, when they have official openings or anything, official meetings, official conferences, the leaders of the countries dress in black. Black suits. You see how dominant and how powerful black is. The Bible says, at the beginning, the world was dark and without light. So the world was black and without light. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. You see, everything starts with black. And it would be very good for them to understand that we have no time at this particular point in time. And I am hoping that those who have now come in to change things will bring about systems that will help us to realize and understand we have no time for racial conflict. We have no time to fight with one another or argue with one another or prevent one another from getting positions or prevent one another. And this goes for the Africans as well as the Indian tribe. We have no time for that. We're supposed to start at this point in time to diminish that whole concept of racial conflict. I am hoping that Almighty God will help our leaders to understand that regardless of how many streets they build, regardless of how many projects they make, regardless of how many buildings they build, regardless of how many electricity and water they put, if they don't make an effort to get rid of the conflict of race, we are at the same place with the beautiful houses, the nice water, the nice electricity and everything, the nice roads and streets, but we still have not been able to consume and get rid of the concept of race. A racial war or racial discrimination is one of the worst things that can happen to people. And we continue. I hear our politicians talking about 6 races. I don't know where the 6 races are. I'm trying all my best to see where these 6 races are. And we grow up from childhood. Guyana has 6 races. Guyana had 6 races. Then all of a sudden I have to ask myself, when I reach 5 or 6 or 7, which race do I belong to? The Indian child got to say, which race do I belong to? And then you're told you're an Indian race, you're an African race. We hear that about these 6 races. It's time that we start hearing about nations. We come from nations of people. If we belong, those of us who are African, if we belong to the nation of African people, it's a big nation. It's a huge nation. It's not a race. The amount of African people in the world, you can't call them a race. They're a nation. The amount of Indian people in this world, on this earth, you can't call them a race. They're a nation of people. The Chinese, we have the Africans and the Indians. I've said it and I'll just touch on it again. The 2 people with the black skins, they are a nation of black people. The Chinese and the Amerindians are a nation of people. The white people and the Portuguese are a nation of people. So we have 3 nations of people. But our people prefer to speak about 6 races. May Allah guide them to understand that if it is going to continue in this way, then it means that one government has changed to the other one, but nothing really has changed. If we don't change this concept of racial discrimination, we will change nothing. And regardless of how much we would want to have PEACE, we will always have those who are going to look and take and find PIECE in order to deny those who they are racially discriminating against from having any. It is time, brothers and sisters, we want to ask God to bless the new administration that has fought so hard to be in the position that they're in. And it shows you what you sow, you reap. Those who have lost the election, they are reaping what they have sown. And God shows us very clearly. You know, when God shows us anything, He does it in a very broad manner. Yesterday, I was president. Today, I'm protesting on the street. I was the president, and now I'm protesting on the street. That happens to all of us when we do not. And like Allah says, when this world has become a home for those who don't have a home, and when this world has become the wealth for those who have no wealth. May Allah guide them. May Allah keep them. And those of us who are certain that there is a life after this life. Our Christian brothers and sisters speak about the resurrection. Our Hindu brothers and sisters speak about the reincarnation. Our Muslim brothers and sisters speak about the life hereafter. In every religion that we know about, and religion is man-made, religion is not God-made, it's man who invented religion for his own P-I-E-C-E-S, pieces. But talk about P-E-A-C-E. And the thing is that we continue to understand, and Allah says, for those of us who do not believe in a life hereafter, then those of us are the people who are greedy people, avaricious people, racist, haters. And let us hope, brothers and sisters, because between January and April this year, we have had 60 murders in a country like this. In a beautiful country like this, we have 60 murders. And all because the way the country was administered, the way things were being done, 80% of it was done on the basis of race. Let us hope that an effort will be made to prevent that from happening. Because, again, what are you going to call the children that belong to African and Indian parents? What are you going to call the children that belong to Amerindian and African parents? What are you going to call the children that belong to Amerindian and Indian parents? What word you got for them? What race they belong to? Hypocrites, fools, and ignorance. We are not prepared to listen to fools and to follow the foolish way and to follow the ignorant way, because love is what we need to have among ourselves. And we can only love ourselves and love each other if we understand that we are a nation of people that have got to fight to help one another, to assist one another, to support one another, so that our children and our grandchildren will have a race-free future.
Negotiations breaking down is a whole big runaround. A lot of talk is what goes on, while the world is left to mourn. Starvation taking toll, weapons out of control, the atmosphere is cold, so cold. Oh Lord, tell me, what about love thy neighbor? Tell me, what about he ain't heavy, he's my brother. Nobody cares a damn anymore. All they got on their mind is war, war. Tell me, what about equal rights and justice? Tell me, what about peace and happiness? Hey! They making new laws every day, and those of the master